Hey everybody, good morning. It's me, Max, again. You're watching Maxed Out Saas channel, where I build stuff. And the plan for today is to add a consent dialog to our web application. So a little bit of context first. To launch the application in production in some countries like US, UK, some European countries, and probably Russia as well. And to implement analytics to send any user behavior data and to set analytics, we first need to ask users' consent. That's kind of important. I don't want my Saas project to be shut down just because I did not ask for consent. So we have a bunch of options. I believe I did a little pre-read on this topic. There are libraries, we can implement this manually, but maybe first let's ask Cursor AI to list down some suggestions, some options, right? Without writing any code for now, let's just see what it has to say. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to implement a consent dialog for my web application. List down the options. Let's see. Okay. What is this? Consent dialog, implementation options, cookie consent banner, GDPR compliance. Yeah, that's what it's called. Modal. Terms of service agreement, data processing consent. Okay, this is too high level. I want a library, maybe third-party service consent. Yeah, sure. So I'm thinking of a third-party library, like Claro or something. Maybe it makes sense to implement this manually as well within the project. Okay. What does it say? So, Claro, what are the cons? Additional dependency, learning curve for customization, maybe overkill for simple needs. CookieBot, expensive. It's a paid option. Heavy implementation requires external service. No, thank you. OneTrust, very expensive. Enterprise features, regulatory compliance, advanced consent. Probably I don't need this stuff. Pros of manual implementation, full control, complete customization for your needs. Well, all of that is understood. Compliance risk, maintenance, testing, documentation. Okay, maybe we can go with Claro first. So it recommends the hybrid approach, right? Use Claro for cookie management, handling analytics cookies, GDPR compliant, easy to integrate with Next.js, cool, handles the complex cookie consent logic. Perfect. AI processing consent. No. Like, I only need Claro to handle custom set cookies because I need analytics. I want to gather user data for A/B testing, for analytics, right? I want to see how the funnel looks like, how many users land on the landing page, how many users then travel to upload page, how many users upload the video, and that sort of stuff. So then I can optimize pieces of the application, how they usually do this in enterprise projects. Okay, so it seems that Claro is probably fine. Okay, let's. So I wanted to have a little bit of a context. Why do I need it? So I need Claro specifically for Google Analytics, or maybe other analytics frameworks later on. Yeah, so I need Claro for only Google Analytics implementation for now. And I just ask it to make an implementation plan. And don't write any code yet. And by the way, just a neat thing we can do is go to Claro official webpage, and I think they have some comprehensive documentation and maybe even a getting started tutorial, this one. And I can also paste. Okay, actually that's how this Claro dialog or modal look. I think I've seen this on a couple of websites just for the last couple of days. You see, you can customize consent to which specific components do you give, like performance optimization, marketing. I would probably have something like Google Analytics data gathering or whatever. Okay, I'll just accept all, that's fine. And what you can do with Cursor AI, you can just paste a link to a web page and say that here is their official starting guide. Take a look. And let's see what it has to say. All right, quite a lot of texts. So in case you guys are not watching, just listening, I'll just go through this briefly. Based on Claro documentation and your requirements, here's a plan for integrating this with Google Analytics. So Claro implementation, phase 1 setup. How many phases do we have? Phase 1, phase 2 integrating with Next.js, phase 3 user experience and styling. Probably I'll just skip this phase 3. Testing and compliance. Okay, advanced features. Wow. I think I should ask it to be a little bit more concise. Like reading through basically an A4 page of documentation each time takes up a bit of time. So okay, install Claro, add Claro to Next.js, choose between CDN and self-hosted approach. So again, we can This Claro library, it goes with a bunch of files, exactly 2 files, right? It's claro.js, where the logic sits, and then claro.css, the style sheets for this dialog window. And then, since they designed it such that it has to work for vanilla.js, not specifically for React applications or Next.js applications, you have to put this code somewhere. Right? It has to either sit on your CDN, or it has to sit alongside with your project source files. I don't have a CDN. I have a Nginx reverse proxy. I can probably put it there. I'm not very good with Nginx though. I think I can ask it to... Maybe I can explore this option, by the way. Like, first question, follow-up questions. Follow-up questions. First one would be like, I have an Nginx reverse proxy. Can it serve as a CDN? I'm not actually sure what are the implications if I put this Claro.js and CSS files on my CDN. Does that mean that I cannot modify these files if I need to? Do I need to modify them actually? I'm not actually sure. If I put files, these files on CDN. So that's going to be the first question. And I just want to list down all of the follow-up questions regarding this response, right? So I don't have to scroll back and forth all the time. So this is going to be the first one. Choose between CDN and self-hosted. Decide on styling approaches with CSS or custom styling. I'll go with their CSS first, probably create configuration. Okay. I think this will have to do anyhow. Configure Google Analytics app definition. Cool. I don't have any Google Analytics set up for now. I do have a Google Analytics console and a bunch of APIs that I already have connected with this application account. I think it's called that. But I don't want to spin up Google Analytics just right now. I think this is going to be the stage 2 of this feature. And configure analytics. Yeah, I'll just specify this. I don't have GA. I think it's called GA4, Google Analytics 4, for whatever reason. Set up in Google Console. Let's just insert a dummy with console log, something like this. That we will replace later on. Okay. And then environment setup, Google Analytics configuration. Okay, that's exactly what I was talking about. Configure consent storage preferences, set up development versus production configurations. Okay. Okay. Probably I have to pass some key for my production environment versus my local development environment, right? So we don't mix analytics from those two sources. This is a good move, generally speaking. For a small project like this, probably I can filter out my user ID, right? In the Google console or whatever dashboard, wherever the dashboard is located. I can just say my email, like maxed out Saas guy, accept this, and then everything else is coming from production probably. Because I think it's more important to maintain momentum for smaller projects like this before I actually launch this to production. And yeah, if this is a problem, I can add this feature later on properly. So okay, environment setup, that's understood. Integration with Next.js. Layout integration. Okay, add configuration loading before Claro initializes. Configuration loading before. Not sure what this is. Ensure proper script loading order. Again, not sure what these two are for. Okay, this is covered. Consent storage, local storage, or cookies. Configure consent storage instance. I think I would let Cursor AI decide local storage and cookies, or maybe I can ask like, what's better? But local storage. So local storage is per browser, I guess, and cookies are per browser as well. And then cookies are stored per domain, and local storage is, again, like, what's the difference? I'm not quite sure. What's the difference between cookie storage and local storage, that is, and cookies? Stored consent info. User experience and styling, consent flow, UI customization. I will not customize any UI for now. We'll just go with the flow to save time. Consent flow, learn more, banner positioning, and then banner should be minimized, probably in the bottom right corner. Testing and compliance, functionality testing. Okay, I think documentation, like advanced features, consent analytics, feature proofing, documentation maintenance. We can skip that. Monitoring and updates. Implementation priority order. High priority. Set up with Google Analytics, medium, UI customization. Okay. Okay. It even has success metrics. Man, just chill. We're not going to production just yet. And again, just like a freaking tapestry of text. Okay. Full control. Okay, Nginx is CDN pros. Over files and caching, no external dependencies, no additional costs, faster, blah, blah, blah. Limited global distribution. Whatever that means. No edge caching worldwide. Okay. Higher server load, manual cache validation, no automatic compression optimization. I think I still will go with the custom, with the local positioning of these files. I don't want to deal with these things, manual cache validation, higher server load. I don't think it's going to be like higher server load. Nginx has pretty high throughput. I don't think I will have so many consumers that Nginx is going to throttle or something. This is basically not an option. Limited global distribution. I don't know what it means by limited global distribution actually. Custom caching rules, faster. And I'm definitely not going to employ an external CDN alongside with the Nginx server just for these features. We're set up since we have reverse auth suggest starting with external CDN for Claro file because it provides better global performance. You can easily switch to self-hosted later if needed. Reduces your server load. No, screw you. Like, I'm not going to set up an external CDN for this. It's the project is already kind of complicated to maintain solo as it is. We don't need additional components just for this thing. Local storage, okay, next thing. So before I forget, first thing is we'll go with local with storing files locally, not in Nginx or external CDN. So that's first. Local storage, no expiration, persists until manually cleared. Okay, no server communication, better performance, works offline. All cookies can be cleared by users as well. No automatic expiration, not accessible server side. Do I need this to be accessible from server side? I'm not sure. So what if... Probably I do need this. What if I need analytics on my API as well? How would my API know that user gave their consent? Sent with every HTTP request, server-side accessible, automatic expiration control, better for server-side consent validation. Okay, that is exactly what we need. Works with SSR, SSG. I think SSR is server-side rendering and SSG is server-side static site. Man, I forgot what does it stand for, but anyhow, that's good. It's supported. Limited size. Again, we're going to only store basically Boolean flags and maybe some string literals. It's not going to extend more than 4 kilobyte. Bandwidth, like sometimes this cursor AI, it just tends to overanalyze stuff. Like probably if this is a low, high performance, low, what do they call, low latency system, right? If I send a lot of data back and forth in a socket, then probably this might become an issue, like a bandwidth overhead, but it's definitely not for this type of project, so whatever. Can be blocked by browsers, requires proper security flags. Okay, I think we'll go with headers. Why though? Consent is primarily client-side concern. No need for server-side consent validation. But okay, I'll just ask one question. If I want to implement analytics on my API side, do I need to ask users' consent? Then Local storage configuration. Setup consent persistence. Bottom right position. Okay. Cool. Maybe we can ask these 2 questions and then continue on with the implementation. By the way, guys, do you see? Is my head blocking the chat window? I think it does a little bit. Maybe I can move myself a little bit. Let me move myself a little bit over here. Is this better? No? Okay, cool. So, what did it say? Did it type any code? I don't think so. Okay, so this is a suggested file folder structure, right? So it wants public, Claro, and then put CSS file and configs over there. Fine with me. And then API side analytics. Performance, system health, consent, user behavior tracking. Yes, personal data analytics. Yeah. Account activity, cross-session tracking, profiling, marketing analytics. I'm not sure, like for now, I probably only need client-side analytics, meaning what button has been clicked, right? What videos and where dragged, I don't know what pages landed, that sort of stuff. Maybe not so much marketing data. But I would probably implement this immediately right now instead of implementing this in local storage and then realizing that, oh snap, I actually need this data on API side as well. And then I have to redo this, and then I have to debug this and bug fix this. I would probably go with headers straight away. Okay, I'll just answer this immediately. I'll probably need API side analytics as well sometime in the future. So let's go with headers. So average file size. No, oh, okay. Here comes an example of what is considered total uploads per day, processing success, failure rates, average file size, peak usage times. Okay. Video processing preferences, feature use per user. Use. I mean, I even wonder, how does it decide what data category falls into which bucket, right? So there are 2 buckets. One needs consent, another one doesn't need consent, right? And then there is, let's say, peak usage times or average file size. So we basically analyze the properties of video that are being uploaded. And then there are like feature usage per user. So if, let's say, we have, I don't know, different voice presets for the video voiceover, and then if I want to log that, then I have to ask for consent. So user, like, I would want to actually log everything and then play with the data. yeah, so yep. Also, I don't want to, decide which what data falls into which category every time, right? I just keep it in headers. I mean, the consent, keep it in headers. It's accessible both on client side and API side, and then I don't have to always mentally compute like, oh, I need this piece of information from the user. Do I need their consent for it? Like, I just want to ask consent for everything, basically. Everything, I mean, analytics wise. I want to analyze their like preferences and analyze their whatever other data. Man, the background is white and the cursor is white, and I just lose the side of cursor sometimes. User analytics with consent. Personalization features. It's not about even personalization, but I want to tune the service to be, interesting for the consumer. I want to know what people prefer. As simple as that. Yeah. Privacy first. Start with safe. Add consent for user analytics, compliance monitoring. So again, system performance is system performance does not need consent. Anonymous usage patterns, error rate tracking, no personal data collection. Again, it's not personal data collection that I'm interested in. I'm interested in user patterns, user behavior patterns. Add consent for user analytics, blah, blah, blah. Compliance monitoring. Updated implementation plan. Download Claro files to public Claro. Configure. Okay with console logging. Implement. Okay. And one thing, I will just download Claro source files and put them in alongside with the other sources myself. I don't want Cursor to mess it up for whatever reason. Sometimes it does it. And then we just go back and forth trying to figure out what's happening. And actually the sources are broken. So I will put it, I just don't want to read through the Claro sources because there's quite a lot of code. So he planned, or like Cursor planned to put it somewhere like public -claro- these files, right? I will just paste them manually and then redirect Cursor to look at these files. So we already have public folder, right? I will create a subfolder, call it Claro, okay? Then I will go to their official page. I will download Claro.js. Ooh, as you can see, there's like a lot of JS code. Boom. I will call it something like Claro.js, right? I will just dump it inside. Show more. Does it have an auto format option? I think it will take some time, considering that this is like 200-ish kilobytes of JS code. And probably I can... Okay, we can just leave it running in the background. And then what about CSS sheet? Load the config in the script. We also provide a version of Claro without styles. I would probably go with styles, which is handy in case you want to bring your own or customize ours. Simply download Claro no CSS. Otherwise, minified style sheet. Okay, I'll go with this one. You see, even minified, it's like considerable amount of text. And what do they call it? Claro.min.css. Okay, that's exactly how we'll call it. Claro.min.css. Perfect. And then we'll just post it over here. Again, we'll save it, and then we'll format the document. Okay. I mean, maybe it's not the biggest CSS sheet, but still. 800 lines of code. Yeah, you see it didn't even format this. Oh, it's still processing, I think. I think it highlighted some, but then this one stays unhighlighted. I think it still goes through this. Okay, anyhow. Yeah, sure, save. I think I saved it, no? Control S. What about save all? I think it's like Control M, and then boom, save all. They are in the public Claro folder. Nice. And now, yeah, I think we can start the implementation now. But I usually ask Cursor to implement step by step. Usually if you just dump the whole feature on it, it starts hallucinating, it stumbles on its words, it messes things up, and you just have to go through a large amount of code at a time, right? I would rather overview and review just smaller pieces of code and then go step by step. I think this is like a more effective and controllable way of approaching this exercise. Go step by step in a controllable fashion. Okay, let's see how it does. Alright, so what it does is basic Claro configuration setup. I think it added a Claro config in another folder. Sources, config, Claro, right? Now it... Okay, so this is just a configuration file, right? A JS object, it writes it into window object. Curious. Oh, it kind of finished. I will... Okay. So, I usually run the commands myself and then print the output of the terminal back to the window, because sometimes it either messes up the path to the project or some other parameters, right? Sometimes it thinks that I'm on Linux, but I'm actually on a PowerShell. So yeah, that just proven to be a better practice. Completed steps, okay. and paste the output back. Okay, so what it did, so it added a Claro config. That's cool. Then Claro provider JSX. So probably it's a component. Yep. Source components. It's a yep. It's only rendered on client, or it should be executed on client mostly. Claro provider use effect. What does it do? It awaits for the JS to load. Okay. Load Claro CSS. Okay. Style sheet link reference. Again, not a web specialist, so I'm not actually sure what this does. I will just lean on Cursor in this regard. Hope it knows what it's doing. Load Claro script. JS. Okay, it inserts some okay. So basically it inserts Claro script inside of HTML, is that it? So document is basically DOM, right? It creates a link. Okay, I had to process this information to make sense of it. So this is DOM, and it creates a new element inside of the DOM. It assigns it like the types, and it appends it to the head. Okay, cool. And now it creates a script from this Claro JS config that we copy-pasted earlier, assigns it some attributes. Okay, cool. Defer, so I'm assuming now it's retrieve the status of the script. Like, I just assumed that it's like loaded dynamically or something. And then a bunch of callbacks, like if it's successful, then Claro successful. If it has any errors, then it will print it inside of the terminal. Append child. Okay, there's a link, and there's the script. Okay, cool. Error Claro configuration. I just wonder, why did he need two new elements? This one is script. So it wrapped it inside of a... Oh, no. Pardon. This is just a CSS. Okay, cool. Yeah. Load Claro config. Yeah. Should be fine. What else did he add? Claro.js. Okay, this is a config. So basically, I will have to rely on Cursor here. These are some configuration variables, right? Version name, expiration policy, styling. We'll just have to figure it out as we go. Purpose analytics. Probably this is an array of different application consent to which we're asking from the user, right? So we only have Google Analytics for now. Later on, this can be something else. Or we can append this list with something else. Okay, purposes, and this is what's going to be shown to user, right? You remember this category with a toggle button alongside with it, like, oh, please give our consent. Or if user wants to customize the consent given, let's say I give consent to analytics, but I don't give consent to something else. So this is the text that's going to be shown. Okay. That's nice. So how do we test this? We just run the application. Oh, it actually... So this Claro provider is not inside of the... I don't think I will see any output in the terminal because this component that we just reviewed is not integrated anywhere. This is not going to load. So I can just say, how do I run this thing? Def ps1. So def ps1. Did I? Def ps1. Okay. So if you guys are wondering why do I launch the application in such an awkward way, so obviously to run the application, there should be some of environment variables already set, right? And this is just a PowerShell script to access a file where I store all of the tokens, all of the domain names and passwords and all that. And for some security reasons, of course, I hold it separately so I don't record this on the stream. And I just needed to set all of these environment variables inside of the shell environment before we actually run the npm run dev, the actual web application. So the application has access to all of these environment variables. Okay, let's see. Now we access localhost 3000. This is the default port which Next.js applications are available. Okay, hi, could you please enable some additional services for analytics? We can actually let me choose. Cool. As you can see, we can customize. For now, there's only one category, and I will give my consent. You can use my data however you want. Cool. Do we see any logs? Not on the API side. Okay. I'm actually not very familiar with Mozilla's DevTools. I hope it's something similar to... Wow. Valid URL. I hope it's something different, similar to Chrome. I'm actually used to this being on the right. Okay, that's also an option. I hope we'll be able to reach some workable state by the end of today's session. I think I have 15 more minutes before I have to run, so let's at least wrap up the Claro side of things. I think we can go with Google Analytics tomorrow if everything goes nicely. Okay, so as you can see, this is source app global CSS. Okay, this is irrelevant, probably. Anyhow, Google Analytics consent changed false, disabled, Claro loaded successfully, perfect. Done. Okay, and anyway, so what can I see? It's strange to me that Claro loaded successfully is happens after the Google consent was disabled or enabled. Enable true. I wonder if it's intended like this. And I will actually just copy paste the whole thing. And Claro.jsx, I will post it here. And questions. Maybe I should make sense of these error messages first. resource at blah 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 preloaded with link preload was not used within a few seconds. Make sure all attributes of the preloaded tag are set correctly. I have no idea what that is. Like, this says nothing to me. Some static resources. The resource blah 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 preloaded with link preload was used within a few seconds. Again, not sure. And then source map error, invalid URL. Okay. Maybe that's just me being newbie in the Next.js applications and web development altogether, that I've struggled to make sense of all of this. Or maybe it's irrelevant because this is like the dev environment and this is supposed to be like this. So I'll just ask these questions. First is, Claro loaded successfully happens after Google Analytics is disabled. After the GA Analytics disabled. That's first, and then so these are not errors, strictly speaking, right? Or rather warnings. So last time I launched this application in Google Chrome, I think, and I didn't see all of this stuff. So that might be a property of Google Chrome console rather than something being wrong with the application to begin with. So let's just see. So what it says. So this is expected, right? Initial load, Claro loads and shows the consent banner. Sure. User interaction, you declined analytics consent. Okay. Claro initialization. After consent is recorded, Claro finishes its initialization. Claro loaded successfully. Oh, okay. I was under an impression that this should be called before any code executes, not after it finishes the execution. User interaction, you decided analytics consent. After consent is recorded, okay. On load. Fires immediately after the browser loads the object. Yeah, so my assumption is kind of correct, unless this same message is somewhere else as well. No, it's the only occurrence on error. Load the configuration, show the consent banner, wait for user interaction, record the consent choice, complete initialization, source map errors. These are, okay. So first question is, do I actually have to, where's the application? Storage, and then, okay, it actually records stuff. So we can copy paste the value. And then, where should I post it? Can I open Notepad? Just post this stuff here. No. I want to copy this thing, and I want to see what's inside. So this is URL encoded, I'm assuming. Some symbol, Google Analytics, maybe it's like it's double quote, probably, and then true. So basically Google Analytics consent given. Interesting. So it's already inside of the headers. And I'm just wondering, I don't see this being linked anywhere to the layout. Use effect. This component doesn't render anything. Well, obviously. Did I miss something? Oh, okay. I actually missed this piece. So why does it even work is because this is basically a component, React component, I think. And it does this use effect, right? And as far as I know, React, like webhooks, it just initializes once, right? There are no variables that can change and trigger this initialization again. So it does this once and that's it. And then it does so when the initial layout is being loaded, right? We import this component, and then within the session client provider, in the root, this is being loaded. Okay, perfect. I think this section is good. And what it says is, yes, this is completely expected. Here's what's happening. Claro loads and shows the consent banner. Cool. User interaction. I clicked the toggle a bunch of times. This is the correct flow, and we can see this in the headers. That's good. Load the configuration, show the consent banner. Wait for interaction. Okay, that's all good. And regarding these warnings that we get in the browser console, okay, so cursors have all of these warnings that we see in the console. They can be ignored. This is development level, what performance optimization stuff. Current status, everything works correctly. Okay, perfect. I think actually we can wrap this up for today. I will commit this, push this to our repo. Probably this is going to be available immediately in our VoiceOver AI. By the way, guys, if somebody is not aware, this is the domain, voice-over-ai.com. You can play around with this service right now. I will release a video explanation of the overall distributed system architecture, how this application works inside, and maybe just to run you through the functionality. How do you upload videos? How do you generate voiceover audio? How do you insert text and all that stuff? Yeah, but that comes later. In the meantime, I think after I deploy this to production, users can already see the consent dialog, and please disregard that it's like stretched to the window width. I think we'll fix it tomorrow. Yeah, with that said, thanks for your attention and see you in the next one. Bye for now.